Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. Tron Technical Analysis TRX USD breakout IS $0.024 following DeFi partnership with wedge. ntvforex.com news ID 6 ad 6d8 2 minutes ago. Waves and Tron to collaborate on a bridge utilizing Gravity blockchain to support value transfer and access to services. Tron and Waves breakout following the partnership. Waves up over 45% and Tron 12% in the last 24 hours. Tron TRX and Waves exploded in massive gains in the last 24 hours following a partnership that will see both platforms support the decentralized finance ecosystem. At the time of writing, Tron is exchanging hands at $0.02319 after a 12% gain. On the other hand, Waves is trading 45% higher within the same 24-hour period to trade at $3.08. Tron and Waves strategic partnership. The two networks announced on Thursday a key partnership that will see them collaborate to build a bridge utilizing Gravity. Gravity refers to an oracle and cross-chain communication network built for token agnostic. The bridge will ensure that both networks enhance access to services in a bid to grow a wider user base. The announcement states Waves and Tron are using Gravity to connect their respective blockchains as smart contract languages RIDE and Solidity. Gravity is a blockchain and token agnostic oracle with a cross-chain communication network. Tron and Waves are establishing a bridge through Gravity which will allow both ecosystems to enhance access to services for two user bases. In addition, Waves, USDN, NSBT, West and other tokens of the Waves ecosystem will be available on the Tron blockchain via Gravity and automatically listed on Tron's DEXs and DeFi services. Developers from both ecosystems will be able to create modern cross-chain dApps which will work in both chains, capable of being expanded to other chains via Gravity via wallets and browser extensions preferred by users. A Tron Technical Analysis. Tron spiked above an ascending channel resistance but lost steam during the approach to $4. Although upward price action has stalled, the technical picture on the daily chart shows that the TRX is still in the bull's hands. This is evidenced by the position of the RSI within the overbought region. In addition, the MACD seems to be extending movement higher within the positive region. In other words, Tron has the potential to rally above the hurdle at $0.024 and lay the groundworks for gains above $0.025. TRX USD Daily Chart. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. Banxico cuts 50 BP to 4.50%. Dovish tone suggests the easing cycle has legs. Analysis http ntvforex.com news ID ADB7FD 8/14/2022 59:33 AM. A notably dovish tone alongside a widening negative output gap backdrop points to further cuts in line with our view. A Banxico strikes again a remarkably and warranted dovish tone. Key points: the board brushed aside the recent inflation rise as we anticipated and clearly signaled that inflation is not a worry for monetary policymakers, as we have been arguing. The dovish statement, along with a deep recession and a widening output gap, clearly suggests further monetary policy easing in such a backdrop, and given that inflation is not a concern, Banxico will likely find no reasons to stop easing until the policy rate reaches C0.0% real ex post levels by year-end. We continue to expect a further 150 BP of rate cuts in the easing cycle, taking the policy rate to 3.00% by year-end, i.e., we are sticking with our call of 50 BP cuts in the policy rate in each of the three remaining scheduled meetings in 2020. Both consensus and market expectations will likely come down following today's decision and accompanying dovish statement. NBSP. Read the full article. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. Dollar ends lower on standstill in U.S. stimulus talks analysis http://ntvforex.com news ID 89DCC7814-2022 10:41 a.m. Market Review 13/08/2020 NBSP 2342 GMT NBSP dollar ends lower on standstill in U.S. stimulus talks. The greenback ended the day lower against majority of its peers except the Japanese yen on Thursday due to continued U.S. stimulus talks concern as the Democrats and Republicans reached an impasse on recent negotiations. NBSP Reuters reported Democrat demands that a coronavirus relief bill include federal aid for the currently overtaxed post office and funding for the upcoming U.S. election have become major sticking points in negotiations for legislation members of both say needs to be passed soon, President Donald Trump said on Thursday. NBSP The items are the post office and the $3.5 billion for mail-in voting, he told Fox Business Network, saying Democrats want to give the post office $25 billion. If we don't make the deal, that means can't have the money, that means they can't have universal mail-in voting. It's just can't happen. NBSP and the initial claims for state unemployment benefits totaled a seasonally adjusted 963,000 for the week ended August 8, compared to 1.191 million in the prior week, the Labor Department said on Thursday. That was the lowest level since mid-March when authorities started shutting down non-essential business to slow the spread of coronavirus. Economists polled by Reuters had forecast 1.12 million applications in the latest week. NBSP versus the Japanese yen, although dollar retreated from 106.92 in Australia to 106.61 in Asian morning, then to session lows of 106.57 at European Open, price erased intraday losses and rallied to 107.04 in New York afternoon on rise in U.S. Treasury yields before retreating to 106.89 on profit-taking and then traded narrowly. NBSP The single currency found renewed buying at 1.1781 in Australia and rose to 1.1816 in Asian morning. Despite retreating to 1.1801, the pair later rallied to session highs of 1.1864 in New York on USD's weakness due to standstill in U.S. stimulus talks before retreating sharply 1.1794 in New York afternoon on profit-taking. NBSP The British pound also rose to 1.3073 in Asian morning before retreating to 1.3050. However, renewed buying emerged and cable later rallied to session highs at 1.3125 in New York on selling in USD before falling sharply in tandem with Euro to 1.3046 in New York afternoon on profit-taking. NBSP In other news, Reuters reported Ireland's Prime Minister Michael Martin said on Thursday he believes there is a landing zone to reach a post-Brexit trade deal between the United Kingdom and the European Union. NBSP Martin, speaking after meeting British Prime Minister Boris Johnson, said they had agreed on the absolute necessity for a tariff and quota-free trade agreement between Britain and the European Union. NBSP data to be released on Friday. NBSP New Zealand manufacturing PMI, PPI output, China house prices, industrial output, retail sales, Japan tertiary industry activity, Swiss producer and import prices, France CPI EU norm, CPI, EU employment change, trade balance, GDP, Canada manufacturing sales, and U.S. labor costs, productivity, retail sales ex autos, retail sales, industrial production, capacity utilization, manufacturing output, business inventories. University of Michigan sentiment. NBSP. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. Stock splits are cool, but they don't add value analysis. http ntvforex.com news ID 701851 8/14/2023 14:19 am. This year we have seen some insane moves in the markets, from entire market crashes, oil futures pricing reaching negative valuations, bankrupt firms offering more shares and, in some instances, wild increases in a company's value based off speculation. The most recent of these is the idea behind stock splits. Both Apple and Tesla have announced that they will be offering a stock split. I have no issues with stock splits. It can obviously make it much more accessible to retail investors who may otherwise have been priced out of the market. In fact, I don't mind joining into them on occasion as well. But under what many sophisticated investors would consider to be normal market conditions, you do not see the incessant buying that we are experiencing now. Tesla Inc. has risen 13.1% just on the announcement that Tesla would be conducting a 5-1 stock split. To me, the logic has gone out the window. A stock split usually results in a dilution of some form, which usually means existing shareholders will end up with bonus shares to ensure the ownership doesn't get diluted as well, but regardless, there are more shares in the pool with the same amount of cash to come out. Tesla hasn't introduced a new product, or completed a project. They haven't gotten a cash injection, or even gotten to Mars, so why should the stock split increase the price of shares? While Tesla does amazing things and they are certainly a little bit more than just a car manufacturer, in this instance nothing new has happened and the rise to me is unjustified. The real answer as to why is likely driven by the speculative and emotional nature that we have found the market to be throughout the pandemic. The sheer numbers of new entrants to the market, even amongst those that are in my social circles, is astounding. Unfortunately, in most instances that I see, they are mostly financially unsophisticated and their investing is closer to gambling. While I wasn't an investor during the dot-com bubble, I have certainly spoken to an investor or two that were, and they often reminisce unfavorably about how the conditions are similar to now. To me, speculative markets with bellies full of stimulus is a little bit like a toddler in a toy shop. Eat happy until you cut the cash off and don't buy the Lego, at which point the emotional state of the child collapses rapidly. Tesla Incorporated TSLAA 5M. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. FedvÄ's Main Street program sees largest weekly increase so far. Reuters News. ntvforex.com news ID 645C483 minutes ago by Omkar Godbole. The Federal Reserve's Main Street lending program for the U.S. small and medium-sized businesses facing tough times due to the coronavirus pandemic saw the largest weekly uptake on record, data released on Thursday showed. NBSP Main Street loans held by the central banks rose by $131 million to $226 million as of Wednesday from $95 million a week earlier, as noted by Reuters News. NBSP under the Main Street lending program, the central bank buys 95% of a loan initiated by a private lender to a qualified business. The program launched last month saw limited use until last week. Officials now foresee a spike in interest. NBSP. The low use of the program early on is not a sign of failure, and more businesses may turn to the facility in the fall if the economy worsens. Boston Federal Reserve President Eric Rosengren, who is managing the program for the Fed, said on Wednesday. NBSP. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. S&amp 500 price analysis hourly chart suggests scope for pullback. ntvforex.com news ID EEDC994 minutes ago by Omkar Godbole. S&amp 500's hourly chart indicators suggest scope for a pullback. NBSP. The index risks falling to the 50-hour SMA support. NBSP. The S&amp 500 index looks heavy, as the hourly chart slow stochastic indicator is reporting a bearish divergence. The hourly chart relative strength index has also diverged in favor of the bears. NBSP. A bearish divergence occurs when an indicator prints lower highs, contradicting higher highs on the price chart and is indicative of ebbing of bullish momentum. NBSP. In addition, the hourly chart MACD histogram has crossed into a bearish territory below zero. NBSP. As such, the index could drop to the ascending 50-hour simple moving average SMA, currently at $3,354. The bearish case would be invalidated if prices find acceptance above $3,389. NBSP hourly chart trend bearish technical levels SP 500 overview today last price 3,382.5 today daily change 0.00 today daily change percent 0.00 today daily open 3,382.5 NBSP trends daily SMA 20 3,288.68 daily SMA 50 3,193.87 daily SMA 100 3,000 20.42 daily SMA 200 3066.17 NBSP levels previous daily high 3,389 previous daily low 3,371 previous weekly high 3,353.75 previous weekly low 3,264.25 previous monthly high 3,293 previous monthly low 3,073.5 daily Fibonacci 38.2% 3,382.12 daily Fibonacci 61.8% 3,377.88 daily. Pivot point S1 3,372.67 daily pivot point S2 3,362.83 daily pivot point S3 3,354.67 daily pivot point R1 3,390.67 daily pivot point R2 3,398.83 daily pivot point R3 3,408.67 NBSP. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://m.me/mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. NZD USD Price Analysis bears can catch a breather around 3-week-old support line above 0.6500 http ntvforex.com news ID ACBB 414 minutes ago by Anil Panchal. NZD USD stays on the back foot while probing the weekly bottom around 0.6525. Oversold RSI conditions, lingering MACD can probe the sellers near the short-term key support trend line. 1-week-old resistance line, 200 bar SMA restricts the immediate upside. NZD USD drops to the intraday low of 0.6528, down 0.28% on a day, amid early Friday AS trading. The Kiwi pair stays on the back foot ever since it reversed from 200 bar SMA on Wednesday. However, a downward sloping trend line from July 24 can restrict the quota's further downside amid oversold RSI conditions and lingering MACD signals. As a result, 0.652525 area encompassing the weekly low and the aforementioned trend becomes the key for sellers to watch ahead of targeting 0.6500 round figures. In a case where the bears refrain from respecting the 0.6500 threshold, July month's low near 0.6440 will be on their radars. On the contrary, a descending trend line from August 8 and 200 bar SMA, respectively around 0.6560 and 0.6590 could stop buyers targeting to revisit 0.6600 round figures. NZD USD 4-hour chart trend pullback expected additional important levels overview today last price 0.6533 today daily change 15 pips today daily change percent 0.23% today daily open 0.6548 NBSP trends daily SMA 20 0.6626 daily SMA 50 0.6547 daily SMA 100 0.631 daily SMA 200 0.636 NBSP levels previous daily high 0.6599 previous daily low 0.6536 previous weekly high 0.6691 previous weekly low 0.6575 previous monthly high 0.6716 previous monthly low 0.644 daily Fibonacci 38.2% 0.656 daily Fibonacci 61.8% 0.6575 daily pivot point S1 0.6523 daily pivot point S2 0.6498 daily pivot point S3 0.646 daily pivot point R1 0.6586 daily pivot point R2 0.6624 daily pivot point R3 0.6649 NBSP. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. BTC Strategist discusses the controversy around Ethereum supply. ntvforex.com news ID 214C6B 4 minutes ago BTC strategist Pierre Rochard shared his views on the supply of Ethereum. NBSP he said that auditing the supply is risky for the network users. NBSP Rochard believes Ethereum can complete with Bitcoin to be a store of value. In a recent episode of a Pomp podcast hosted by Anthony Pompliano, Pierre Rochard, a Bitcoin strategist at Kraken, discussed the controversy surrounding Ethereum supply. He said that the difficulty associated with auditing the supply carries a big risk for the network users. NBSP it introduces a vulnerability whereby your ETH could get diluted, and you are really in the dark as to whether you are rebuying ETH. Are you actually receiving legit ETH, or is this fractional reserve ETH that was kind of created out of thin air a few days back? Rochard had started the debate over ETH's supply. He then paid Marc-André Dumas, senior integration specialist at MakerDAO, to come up with code to calculate it. However, the answer that the code produced has led to additional confusion. The debate continues to rage over what Ethereum's total supply is and or if it even matters. NBSP Unlike Bitcoin, Ethereum hands out rewards in many ways that aren't included in the final blockchain. Therefore, it's difficult to audit its total supply, and third-party data sites end up with different numbers. According to Rochard, this dependence on third-party sites is another problem. NBSP ETAs about decentralization. If we're going to trust centralized third parties, we might as well go back to the Federal Reserve. Rochard said that he disagrees with the narrative that Ethereum can compete with Bitcoin as a store of value. He further added that if something bad were to happen to ETH, it would impact other coins like Bitcoin as well. NBSP. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. Gold price news and forecast. XAU/USD slips below $1,950, forms rising wedge on hourly chart. ntvforex.com news ID 8:09-2 minutes ago by NTV Forex team. Gold eyes first weekly loss since early June. Gold appears on track to end its 9-week winning run. At press time, the yellow metal is trading near $1,950 per ounce, representing a 4% decline on a week-to-date basis. Prices reached a record high of $2,075 last week. NBSP the latest week loss, which is the biggest since March, could be attributed to the bounce in the U.S. Treasury yields. NBSP the yield on the U.S. 10-year Treasury note rose to a high of 0.727% on Thursday, a level last seen on June 24. The yield has added 18 basis points this week, having bottomed out at 0.504% in the previous week. Gold, being a zero-yielding safe haven, tends to lose its shine when bond yields rise. NBSP read more. XAU/USD overview today. Last price 1951.66 today. Daily change 1.94 today. Daily change percent 0.10 today. Daily open 1953.6 NBSP trends. Daily SMA 20 1943.84 daily SMA 50 1834.49 daily SMA 100 1765.44 daily SMA 200 1651.94 NBSP levels. Previous daily high 1966.36 previous daily low 1912.94 previous weekly high 2075.32 previous weekly low 1960.67 previous monthly high 1984.8 previous monthly low 1757.7 daily Fibonacci 38.2% 1945.95 daily Fibonacci 61.8% 1933.35 daily pivot point S1 1922.24 daily pivot point S2 1890.88 daily pivot point S3 1868.82 daily pivot point R1 1975.66 daily pivot point R2 1997.72 daily pivot point R3 2029.08 NBSP gold price analysis XAU/USD slips below $1,950. Forms rising wedge on hourly chart. Gold fails to keep its recent bounce off $1,937.89 as the bullion drops from $1,955 to $1,947 during the early Friday AS Asian session. The precious metal AS fresh moves copy trading performance following its pullback from $1,863.24 to portray a bearish chart pattern on the hourly formation. However, sellers are waiting for a clear break of $1,938 to confirm the downside bias towards a $1,840 theoretical target. It should be noted that $1,900 and Wednesday AS low near $1,863 can offer intermediate halts during the fall. Read more. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. Your USD daily recommendations on major analysis. http ntvforex.com news ID 666176 8/14/2023 47:19 AM daily market outlook on major update time NBSP August 14, 2020 NBSP 0330 USD 1.1812 although price has retreated after the single currency S rally from Wednesday's low at 1.1712 to 1.1864 yesterday and minor consolidation would be seen, as said move signals the first leg of correction from last Thursday's fresh 2-year peak at January 1915 has ended there. Upside bias remains in above 1.1864 would extend to 1.189093 before prospect of down. On the downside, only below 1.1794 would indicate said recovery has ended instead and risk stronger weakness to 1.1781. Data out on Friday. New Zealand manufacturing PMI, PPI output, China house prices, industrial output, retail sales, Japan tertiary industry activity. Swiss producer and import prices, France CPI EU norm, CPI, EU employment change, trade balance, GDP, Canada manufacturing sales. U.S. Labor costs, productivity, retail sales ex autos, retail sales, industrial production, capacity utilization, manufacturing output, business inventories, University of Michigan sentiment. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. Ripple Technical Analysis XRP USD on the verge of a triangle breakout, is 32 cents within reach. http ntvforex.com news ID 87A4111 minutes ago. Ripple renews the bullish trend in an engulfing candle, retesting resistance at 30 cents ahead of a potential triangle breakout. XRP USD may settle for consolidation according to the horizontally moving RSI. The bullish grip above 29 cents is reinforced by the upward trending MACD coupled with the bullish divergence. Ripple price has been narrowing within a falling triangle pattern for 2 weeks now. The retreat followed an impressive price action that has seen XRP rally from July lows at $0.1740. The break above 30 cents was music to the investor's ears. Unfortunately, Ripple soon hit a barrier at $0.3250. The lockstep trading over the last couple of weeks has mainly been in favor of the bears because XRP has explored lower levels under 30 cents and closer to the support at 26 cents. The establishment of credible support at 28 cents gave buyers the opportunity to push for gains above the 50 SMA hurdle in the 4-hour range. XRP USD is dancing at $0.2934 at the time of writing. The aforementioned recovery stalled on brushing shoulders with the barrier at NBSP 30 cents. However, the formation of a falling triangle pattern could give way for gains above 30 cents. Ripple is on the verge of this triangle breakout even as the 50 SMA provides immediate support as bulls focus on overcoming the triangle resistance. If the breakout comes into the picture and is supported by a substantial trading volume, there would be a chance that XRP will extend the price action not only above 30 cents but also push beyond 32 cents. Technically, the price action is likely to settle for consolidation as observed with the RSI. The indicator has slowed down upward momentum but is holding well above the midline. The MACD, on the other hand, is moving towards the mean line. Its visible bullish divergence highlights a stronger bullish grip. XRP for US dollars hour chart. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. Gold price forecast bull-bear tug of war to extend ahead of U.S. retail sales analysis. http ntvforex.com news ID C85B15814 2023 57:17 AM. XAU bulls take a breather after $200 rebound from 3-week lows. U.S. dollar cheers China data disappointment, firmer U.S. yields. NBSP gold to find support ahead of U.S. retail sales data, U.S.-China trade talks. Gold XAU USD extended Wednesday pullback and recovered nearly $200 from 3-week lows to end Thursday higher at $1,953.60. The yellow metal rose as high as $1,966 amid negative sentiment on Wall Street but failed to hold on to higher levels. The rise in the U.S. Treasury yields diminished the demand for the yieldless gold and pushed it lower. Yields on U.S. Treasuries rose after a poor auction of 30-year bonds. The U.S. dollar benefited from higher yields and upbeat U.S. jobless claims data, further limiting the upside attempts in the precious metal. However, rising coronavirus fears globally combined with a delay in the U.S. fiscal stimulus kept the floor under gold prices. Heading into the critical U.S. retail sales report this Friday, gold treads water around $1,950 region. The Asian stocks falter amid a disappointment in the Chinese activity numbers while the greenback holds onto the recent gains. A weaker than expected rise in the U.S. retail sales data could reignite economic recovery concerns and down the dollar, which could possibly bode well for gold. Meanwhile, the bright metal could also benefit, as investors are likely to remain risk-averse amid the U.S. fiscal impasse and ahead of the key U.S.-China trade talks, scheduled on Saturday. Short-term technical perspective. NBSP gold hourly chart. XAU USD ranges within a potential rising wedge formation on the hourly, clinging firmly onto the solid support at $1,946.50, which the convergence of the rising trend line and upward sloping 21-hourly simple moving average HMA. The hourly relative strength index RSI inches slightly higher at 54.80, holding well above the midline. This suggests that the price could bounce back to test the bearish 100 HMA at $1,964.50. Acceptance above that level is critical to confirm the bullish reversal from the recent brutal sell-off. NBSP further north, the rising trend line resistance $1,972 will be next on the buyer-saw radars. A fresh rally could be triggered on a break above the latter, opening doors for a test of the horizontal 200 HMA barrier at $1,997. To the downside, the bearish continuation pattern will get confirmed on an hourly closing below the above-mentioned critical support at $1,946.50. The next downside target is aligned at $1,933, the horizontal 50 HMA, which is the level to beat for the bears. Sellers will then eye a test of $1,907 support on its way to the round figure of $1,900. Gold additional levels to consider. XAU USD overview today last price 1951.09 today daily change 2.70 today daily change percent 0.14 today daily open 1953.6 NBSP trends daily SMA 20 1943.84 daily SMA 50 1834.49 daily SMA 100 1765.44 daily SMA 200 1651.94 NBSP levels previous daily high 1966.36 previous daily low 1912.94 previous weekly high 2075.32 previous weekly low 1960.67 previous monthly high 1984.8 previous monthly low 1757.7 daily Fibonacci 38.2% 1945.95 daily Fibonacci 61.8% 1933.35 daily pivot point S1 1922.24 daily pivot point S2 1890.88 daily pivot point S3 1868.82 daily pivot point R1 1975.66 daily pivot point R2 1997.72 daily pivot point R3 2029.08 NBSP Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. Elliott Wave View 10-year notes ZNF impulsive decline video analysis http ntvforex.com news ID 132B95814 2023 5427 AM Elliott Wave View in 10-year note ZNF suggests that the note has ended the cycle from June 5 low as wave 1. From there, the note can do a pullback in 3 waves to correct that cycle. Down from August 5 high, wave I ended at 140 low. The bounce in wave 2 ended at 140.13 high. The note then resumed lower in wave 3, which ended at 139 low. The internal subdivision of wave 3 unfolded as NBSP 5 waves impulse Elliott wave structure. Wave I of 3 ended at 139.27 low and wave 2 bounce ended at 140.01 high. The decline then resumed lower in wave 3 and ended at 139.07 low. This is followed by wave 4 bounce, which ended at 139.17 high. Wave V then extended lower and ended at 139 low. Afterwards, the note bounced higher in wave 4, which unfolded as a double correction. Wave 4 ended at 139.14 high. From there, the note has resumed lower again. Currently, wave V is still in progress. The note can see a few more lows, but it should be ending wave V and wave A in higher degree soon. This will be followed by a bigger bounce in wave B before resuming lower again in wave C. While below 140.13 high, expect the bounces in 3,7 or 11 swings to fail for more downside. ZNF 45 minutes Elliott Wave Chart ZNF Elliott Wave Video NBSP Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://m.me/mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. S&amp 500 index looks north amid upbeat U.S. economic outlook. Vaccine hopes. A Goldman Sachs ntvforex.com news ID FC4A853 3 minutes ago by DeFi Meta analysts at Goldman Sachs published a detailed report on the global market NBSP outlook, especially about the U.S. growth views and its implications for the S&amp 500 index. Key quotes: A U.S. growth views have become a key driver of market outcomes. Our forecasts imply that there is still room for market pricing of U.S. growth views to move higher, particularly given improving prospects for an early vaccine. NBSP we show that as long as improving growth is in the driver's seat, this would likely be consistent with further equity upside even if recent real yield declines were to reverse. NBSP our own U.S. growth forecasts, which were upgraded earlier this week, now incorporate a vaccine approval by the end of 2020, and widespread distribution by the end of 2021 Q2 as the central case. NBSP a rise in our growth factor is all else equal associated with higher equity returns. A 25 basis point upward shift Indiana growth expectations over the next 2 years is associated with a 4.5–4.9% lift to the S&amp 500, as are lower real yields. A 25 basis point rise Indiana real yields is associated with a 1.2–1.4% drag on equities. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://m.me/mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. USD holds above 200-hour SMA despite losses in Asian stocks. ntvforex.com news ID D3B07C 5 minutes ago by Omkar Godbole. Key SMA has put brakes on USD's pullback from Thursday's high. NBSP Asian stocks drop on below forecast China data. Still, the dollar fails to draw bids. Stalled talks on a U.S. coronavirus stimulus bill weigh over the greenback. NBSP USD remains sidelined above the 200-hour simple moving average SMA as the safe haven dollar is struggling to draw bids despite the risk-off tone in the Asian stock markets. NBSP China data disappoints expectations. Data released early Friday showed China's industrial production rose 4.8% from a year earlier in July. While the output expanded for the fourth straight month, it missed expectations for a 5.1% year-on-year rise. NBSP meanwhile, retail sales dropped 1.1% on year, worse than a predicted 0.1% expansion. The data poured cold water over the optimism generated by the deceleration in China's factory deflation signaled by the producer price index released earlier this month and weakened the risk sentiment in the Asia markets. NBSP so far, however, the dollar has failed to draw haven bids. The greenback is struggling possibly due to worries about a delay in the additional U.S. fiscal stimulus. NBSP talks in Congress stalled with no signs of progress after a pivotal call between House Speaker Pelosi and Treasury Secretary Mnuchin, as noted by BK Asset Management's Kathy Lean. According to Pelosi, Democrats and the White House are miles apart, meaning the deal is still far away. NBSP as such, USD could continue to trade above the 200-hour SMA, currently at 1.18 more so, as the Sino-US tensions have eased somewhat in the past 24 hours. White House economic advisor on Thursday said that the Trump administration is satisfied with China's progress in meeting commitments to purchase the U.S. goods in a Phase 1 trade deal, strengthening hopes that the pact will survive an initial review on Saturday. NBSP the shared currency, however, may come under pressure in Europe, if the Eurozone gross domestic product, due at 0900 GMT, shows a bigger than expected economic contraction in the second quarter. Later in the day, the focus would shift to the U.S. retail sales data. NBSP EUR/USD is trading at 1.1812 at press time. The pullback from Thursday's high of 1.1864 ran out of steam at the 200-hour SMA support of 1.18 during the Asian trading hours. NBSP technical levels EUR/USD overview today last price 1.181 today daily change 0.0003 today daily change percent 0.03 today daily open 1.1813 NBSP trends daily SMA 20 1.1714 daily SMA 50 1.1457 daily SMA 100 1.1191 daily SMA 200 1.112 NBSP levels previous daily high 1.1864 previous daily low 1.178 previous weekly high January 1916 previous weekly low 1.1696 previous monthly high January 1909 previous monthly low 1.1185 daily Fibonacci 38.2% 1.1832 daily Fibonacci 61.8% 1.1812 daily pivot point S1 1.1774 daily pivot point S2 1.1735 daily pivot point S3 1.169 daily pivot point R1 1.1858 daily pivot point R2 January 1903 daily pivot point R3 January 1942 NBSP Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. Coronavirus update: Germania's new infections rise by 1,449, highest in 3 months. ntvforex.com news ID 3B524D 6 minutes ago by Dwani Mehta. The number of confirmed coronavirus cases rose to 221,413 with a total of 9,225 deaths, as reported by the German Disease and Epidemic Control Center, Robert Koch Institute RKI, on Friday. Cases increased by 1,449 in Germany on Friday versus Thursday's 1,445. The death count rose by 14, the tally showed. The total active cases are now closing in on the 12K mark. On Thursday, Germania's Health Minister Jens Spahn said that the NBSP are worried about the rise in the coronavirus cases but are confident about the health system. EUR/USD flatlined above 1.1800 euros. USD is trapped in a narrow range above 1.1800, as the US dollar clings onto the overnight gains despite a minor retracement in the Treasury yields. EUR/USD holds above 200-hour SMA despite losses in Asian stocks. NBSP. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. GBP USD mildly offered near 1.3050 despite cautious optimism at UK. http ntvforex.com news ID 0565236 6 minutes ago by Anil Panchal. GBP USD struggles to keep recovery gains from intraday low of 1.3048. UK's Brexit negotiator David Frost cites odds of Brexit deal by September. British PM Johnson announces easing of lockdown restrictions despite scientists' warnings. US retail sales will decorate economic calendar ahead of key US-China trade talks and Brexit negotiations. GBP USD stays depressed around 1.3055, down 0.08% on a day, while heading into the London Open on Friday. The pair benefited from the UK's trade positive headlines and broad US dollar weakness the previous day. However, a lack of major directives and the coronavirus COVID-19 concerns challenge the pair buyers even if UK PM Boris Johnson unveiled details of easing lockdown restrictions. Looking forward, traders will keep eyes on the US data amid an empty British line of economics. In addition to the UK's Brexit negotiator David Frost's comments suggesting a Brexit deal in September, British PM Johnson's signal to the bloc for zero tariff quota deal also boosted the GBP USD the previous day. Further, the Tory leader also tried to quell fears of Brexit while visiting Northern Ireland, which in turn helped keep upbeat trading sentiment. The EU and the UK negotiators will resume another round of Brexit talks from August 18. Elsewhere, UK PM Johnson's office rolled out guidelines to ease the virus-led lockdown restrictions. The move ignores warnings from the British scientists suggesting that the nation is nowhere near level of coronavirus immunity needed to prevent a second wave. It should be noted that the British announcement to put France on the no-go list gains heavy criticism from the bloc member. On the other hand, US pandemic numbers have recently been doubted amid receding tests. Market's risk sentiment has recently been sluggish as the US and China flash mixed signals ahead of this weekend's Phase 1 talks. While US President Donald Trump turns down having any friendly attitude, the White House advisor Larry Kudlow tries to repay for the loss of confidence while citing China's increased buying of agricultural goods. Amid all these catalysts, stocks in Asia-Pacific and the U.S. stocks future print mild gains whereas U.S. 10-year Treasury yields stopped the previous run up around 0.71% by the press time. Considering the lack of major data events up for publishing from the UK, the pair traders will keep eyes on macro for intermediate clues ahead of the U.S. retail sales figures for July. In doing so, any more Brexit positive headlines, coupled with anticipated weakness in U.S. retail sales, may favor the cable bulls. Technical analysis. While the current sluggish moves drag the pair towards 1.3000, its further downside will be curbed by a 4-month-old support line near 1.2870. Meanwhile, 1.3130 and the monthly high near 1.3185 can entertain buyers before diverting them to March month top around 1.3200. Additional important levels overview: today last price 1.306, today daily change 7 pips, today daily change percent 0.05%, today daily open 1.3067, NBSP trends daily SMA 20 1.2945, daily SMA 50 1.2697, daily SMA 100 1.2537, daily SMA 200 1.2714, NBSP levels: previous daily high 1.312, previous daily low 1.3031, previous weekly high 1.3186, previous weekly low 1.2982, previous monthly high 1.317, previous monthly low 1.236, daily Fibonacci 38.2%, 1.3089, daily Fibonacci 61.8%, 1.3067, daily pivot point S1 1.3024, daily pivot point S2 1.298, daily pivot point S3 1.2929, daily pivot point R1 1.3118, daily pivot point R2 1.3168, daily pivot point R3 1.3212, NBSP. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://m.me/mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. Your GBP reversal prepares for bullish break above 0.9050 analysis. http ntvforex.com. News ID 08AC4E814 2024 9 am. The EUR GBP is building a range above the 21 EMA zone green box after breaking above the resistance trend lines dotted purple. The EUR GBP could be ready for a strong bullish breakout. NBSP price charts and technical analysis. The EUR GBP needs to break above the resistance of the previous wave 4. A bullish breakout would confirm the trend and momentum change from down to up. Bullish price action could take place within a wave 3 purple. The first target is the WIS6 level and the previous top. But the start of a wave 3 could push it for a new high and beyond. A bull flag pattern would help confirm the uptrend view green check. The EUR GBP could also break south, but the previous bottom is likely to hold. An inverted head and shoulders pattern is likely to act as support for a bullish bounce. Only a break below the bottom invalidates red X the current bullish outlook on the EG. NBSP. The analysis has been done with the ECS.SWOT method and ebook. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. USD CHF price analysis ignores oversold RSI. Previous week AS dodgy to battle 0.9100 http ntvforex.com news ID 2360C5 3 minutes ago by Anil Panchal. USD CHF remains on the back foot with the latest declines taking place from 0.9105. A falling trend line from September 2018, oversold RSI conditions question the sellers. Bulls will wait for a clear break above 0.9200. USD CHF stays depressed at 0.9097 ahead of the European session on Friday. The pair dropped during the previous 2 days while defying the oversold RSI conditions on the weekly chart, needless to mention about the previous week AS dodgy candlestick. Even if the sellers are on the driver AS seat, a multi-week falling trend line near 0.9075, followed by the monthly low around 0.9050, will question the pair AS further downside. Additionally, the 0.9000 threshold adds to the list of the supports that hold the key to the south run, targeting July 2014 low near 0.8850. If at all the pair stays beyond 0.9050 on a weekly basis, buyers may think of an entry targeting 0.9200. However, a strong upside signal can only be gained if the pair manages to stay beyond the same. USD CHF weekly chart trend pullback expected. Additional important levels overview today. Last price 0.9098 today. Daily change 0.0000 today. Daily change percent 0.00% today. Daily open 0.9098. NBSP trends daily. SMA 20 0.9187 daily. SMA 50 0.9357 daily. SMA 100 0.952 daily. SMA 200 0.9637 NBSP levels. Previous daily high 0.9123, previous daily low 0.9082, previous weekly high 0.9242, previous weekly low 0.9051, previous monthly high 0.9494, previous monthly low 0.9056, daily Fibonacci 38.2%, 0.9098 daily Fibonacci 61.8%. 0.9107 daily pivot point S1 0.9079 daily pivot point S2 0.906 daily pivot point S3 0.9039 daily pivot point R1 0.9119 daily pivot point R2 0.9141 daily pivot point R3 0.916 NBSP. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. BitGo CEO urges people to invest at least 3% in Bitcoin. ntvforex.com news ID 501BAF 3 minutes ago. BitGo CEO Mike Belch said that investors are increasingly turning to gold and BTC. NBSP. He urged people to divert a minimum of 3% of their portfolio into Bitcoin. NBSP. Mike Belch, the CEO of cryptocurrency asset manager BitGo, recently took to Twitter to warn that COVID-19 lockdowns will force people out of fiat currency and turn to Bitcoin and gold. Belch has urged his followers to divert at least 3% of their portfolio into Bitcoin. NBSP. The CEO noted that the U.S. government's decision to impose a lockdown due to a political correctness will increase the devaluation of fiat currencies, making it difficult for citizens to hold them. NBSP. The government is being forced to maintain lockdowns for political correctness, which will force them to print money even faster. Institutional investors are flagging this and recognize the devaluation will make cash hard to hold. NBSP. According to an earlier Cointelegraph report, MicroStrategy, a billion-dollar corporation, announced that it had adopted Bitcoin as its treasury reserve asset. Belch noted that institutional investors are increasingly turning to gold and Bitcoin amidst uncertain times. He urged people to start investing in the leading digital asset if they already have their institutional investors looking for alternatives, and it comes down to Bitcoin and gold. If you don't have some Bitcoin now, it is time to put at least 3% of your net worth into Bitcoin. This is the lowest risk, highest asymmetric upside investment you will likely see in your lifetime. NBSP or stop the lockdown. But still get Bitcoin. NBSP. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://m.me/mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. Gold price analysis. Bulls to face an uphill task beyond $1,950. A confluence detector. ntvforex.com news ID E4BF0D 4 minutes ago by Dwani Mehta. Having closed above the critical $1,933 barrier, gold treads waters amid the China data disappointment and retreat in the U.S. Treasury yields across the curve. Meanwhile, the U.S. dollar holds on to Thursday's rebound, with the upside capped by the U.S. fiscal impasse and jittery markets ahead of the critical U.S. retail sales data. Despite gold's $200 rebound from 3-week lows, the bright metal remains on track for a 4% weekly drop, snapping the 9-week winning streak. Let's take a look at technical levels to gauge where the price is headed in the upcoming session. XAU-USD key resistances and supports. The tool shows that gold is holding well above NBSP. A bunch of support levels aligned at $1,945, which is the convergence of the Fibonacci NBSP 38.2% one critical day, previous low on 4-hour and Bollinger Band 4-hour middle. The next cushion is seen at $1,934, where the Fibonacci 61.8% one-day and SMA 50 1-hour coincide. The recovery momentum will likely remain intact as long as the price holds above the robust support at $1,933.32 Fibonacci 23.6% 1 month. To the top side, a clearance of the immediate hurdle at $1,954, the intersection of the Fibonacci 23.6% one-day and SMA 10 1-hour, will call for a test of the previous week low at $1,960. The further advance will likely be staggered, given minor resistance levels are stacked up at regular intervals on its way to $1,972, the pivot point 1 week S1. Here is how it looks on the tool NBSP. About the confluence detector. With the TCI Technical Confluences Indicator tool, you can easily locate NBSP areas where the price can find a support zone, NBSP or resistance zone, and make trading decisions. If you are a short-term trader, you will find entry points for counter-trend strategies and hunt a few points each time. If you are a medium and long-term trader, this tool will allow you to know in advance the price levels in which a medium-long-term trend can stop your travel and rest, where to undo positions, or NBSP where NBSP to increase your position. Learn more about technical confluence. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://m.me/mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. EUR/USD remains consolidative within 1.1660-1.1880 AUOB. http ntvforex.com news ID 995AF8 4 minutes ago by Pablo Piavano. FX strategists at UOB Group noted EUR/USD is expected to keep navigating between 1.1660 and 1.1880 in the next weeks. Key quotes 24 Our view. Yesterday, we highlighted that the A rebound in EUR has room to extend higher towards 1.1835 We added, A for today, a move beyond the major resistance at 1.1880 would come as a surprise. EUR subsequently rose to a high of 1.1864 before retreating quickly. Upward pressure has more or less dissipated and the bias for today is tilted to the downside towards 1.1765. Minor support is at 1.1790. For now, a sustained decline below this level is unlikely. Resistance is at 1.1840 followed by 1.1865. Next 3 weeks. There is not much to add to our update from Tuesday, August 11th, spot at 1.1740. As highlighted, while EUR has likely formed a short-term top at January 1915, any weakness in EUR is likely to be slow and is viewed as part of a broad 1.1600–1.1880 range. EUR traded in a relatively quiet manner over the past couple of days, and for now, we continue to hold the same view wherein EUR is in a consolidation phase and is likely to trade sideways, albeit within a narrower range of 1.1660–1.1880 range. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. Gold price news and forecast. XAU-USD bull-bear tug of war to extend ahead of U.S. retail sales. ntvforex.com news ID B21DE8 2 minutes ago by NTV Forex team. Gold price analysis. Bulls to face an uphill task beyond $1,950. A confluence detector having closed above the critical $1,933 barrier. Gold treads waters amid the China data disappointment and retreat in the U.S. Treasury yields across the curve. Meanwhile, the US dollar holds on to Thursday's rebound, with the upside capped by the US fiscal impasse and jittery markets ahead of the critical US retail sales data. Despite gold's $200 rebound from 3-week lows, the bright metal remains on track for a 4% weekly drop, snapping the 9-week winning streak. Let's take a look at technical levels to gauge where the price is headed in the upcoming session. Read more. Gold price forecast. Bull-bear tug of war to extend ahead of U.S. retail sales. Gold XAU-USD extended Wednesday pullback and recovered nearly $200 from 3-week lows to end Thursday higher at $1,953.60. The yellow metal rose as high as $1,966 amid negative sentiment on Wall Street but failed to hold on to higher levels. The rise in the U.S. Treasury yields diminished the demand for the yieldless gold and pushed it lower. Yields on U.S. Treasuries rose after a poor auction of 30-year bonds. The U.S. dollar benefited from higher yields and upbeat U.S. jobless claims data, further limiting the upside attempts in the precious metal. However, rising coronavirus fears globally combined with a delay in the U.S. fiscal stimulus kept the floor under gold prices. Read more. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. Asian stock market sluggish amid downbeat China data. Sino-American talks. ntvforex.com news ID D946F7 5 minutes ago by Anil Panchal. Shares in Asia feet lower as China's July month data dump disappoints. Mixed headlines concerning from the US and China troubles traders ahead of Saturday's talks. Rabat's low justifies easy money policy, virus figures from New Zealand rise. Asian equities remain on the back foot during Friday's pre-European trading. However, the moves were mild amid a lack of major surprises and cautious sentiment before the US and Chinese diplomat greet each other on Saturday. While portraying the mood, MSCI's index of Asia-Pacific shares outside Japan declined 0.20%, whereas Japan's Nikkei 225 rises 0.08% by the press time. Australia's ASX 200 seems to buck the trend with near 0.50% gains to 6,123 as RBA Governor Philip Lowe keeps possibilities of negative rates on the cards. This also helps the NZX 50 to remain mildly positive, up 0.15% as we write, even as New Zealand's coronavirus COVID-19 total reaches to 48. Further, India's BSE Sensex also follows the suit with mild gains amid hopes of overcoming the virus wave 1.0. On the contrary, China's weaker than expected industrial production and retail sales join US President Donald Trump's unfriendly attitude to exert downside pressure on the Dragon National's equity benchmarks. Hong Kong's Hang Seng and Indonesia's IDX are on the same line, whereas South Korea's Kospi becomes the biggest loser so far while declining 1.28% to 2,406. It should be noted that the US 10-year Treasury yields fail to extend the previous day's upside near 0.71%, but S&amp 500 futures gains 0.20% to 3,375. The reason for mixed performance concerning the U.S. risk barometers could be traced from recently upbeat American data and uncertainty surrounding the much-awaited stimulus ahead of today's U.S. retail sales. While a slightly populated calendar could offer intermediate trading moves, markets will wait for the clear direction on the COVID-19 relief package and U.S.-China meet before regaining the momentum. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://m.me/mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. Bitcoin price prediction: BTC USD bulls relentless push or gains above $12,000. A confluence detector. ntvforex.com news ID 961D162. 2 minutes ago, Bitcoin hits a critical barrier at $11,800, delaying the push for gains above $12,000. BTC USD embraces confluence support at $11,698, signaling a possible consolidation. Bitcoin recovered significantly over on Thursday after resting the support at $11,100 levels earlier in the week. Initially, there was a struggle in the range between $11,500 and $11,600. However, buyers eventually gathered the strength to push for gains towards $12,000. Although all the attention effort was channeled towards breaking the resistance at $12,000, Bitcoin hit a barrier at $11,800. Meanwhile, BTC USD is exchanging hands at $11,768 in the wake of a minor retreat. The bearish leg has traded intraday lows of $11,686. The push for gains above $12,000 may have taken a hit, but make no mistake, the bulls are unrelenting in this mission. Moreover, the technical picture has remained positive in spite of the barrier at $11,800 and the retreat. The RSI, for instance, is clinging tightly to the level at 70 after a rigorous recovery from 60 August low. A glance at the MACD clearly shows that consolidation would take place ahead of the expected breakout above the psychological $12,000 resistance. If we take a wider look at the BTC USD daily chart, then the price has been in consolidation between $11,000 main support and $12,000 resistance. For now, bringing down the selling pressure is top on the Bulsa priority list. BTC USD daily chart: Bitcoin confluence resistance and support levels. Resistance 1, $11,820. This the first resistance according to the confluence tool. It is highlighted by the previous high 1 hour, previous high 15 minutes, the Bollinger Band 15 minutes middle and the previous high 1 day. Resistance to $11,942. A minor seller congestion likely to delay price action to $12,000. It is highlighted by the Bollinger Band 4 upper curve. Resistance 3, $12,065. This is the first hurdle buyers would encounter in the run above $12,000. It is home to the pivot point 1-day resistance 1. Support 1, $11,698. The strongest buyer congestion zone highlighted by the SMA 100 1 hour, SMA 50 15 minutes, the Fibonacci 23.6% 1 day, the previous low 1 hour and the previous low 4 hour. Support to $11,576. The second most significant support zone and home to the Fibonacci 61.8% on week, the SMA 215 minutes and the SMA 51 hour. Support $311,331 a home to the previous low 1 day, the Bollinger Band 4 hour and the Bollinger Band 1 day middle. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://m.me/mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. China retail sales unexpectedly slip 1.1%, as focus shifts to US retail sales analysis. http://ntvforex.com News ID FFFB09814-2025 15:19 AM. European equity markets ran out of steam yesterday, weighed down by the receding prospect of an imminent US stimulus deal, after U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi ruled out the prospect of any sort of agreement plan in the next few days. U.S. markets proved to be slightly more resilient, with the Nasdaq finishing the day higher, while the S&amp 500 slipped back, after briefly threatening to retest the record highs from February this year. With U.S. stock markets just shy of record highs, and no discernible impact on the labor market of the recent expiry of the weekly $600 unemployment enhancement, after yesterday's positive jobless claims numbers, U.S. politicians appear to lack the incentive to arrive at a quick deal, and as such this procrastination is likely to continue until one of these factors changes negatively. The robustness of recent economic data has been a nice positive, helping to push U.S. yields up on the day, and even higher on the week. Yet there is this continued nagging doubt that U.S. politicians will overplay their hand, and by the time they do get their act together, the U.S. economy could suffer significant damage. NBSP Asia markets took this negative hand off from the U.S. and have struggled ahead of the weekend, finishing what has still been a positive week, somewhat on the back foot. Earlier this morning, we got the latest retail sales and industrial production numbers from China for the month of July, and they continue to point to a weak recovery in the region. Retail sales growth in China hasn't been the same since the country came out of lockdown at the end of February, though optimism over the July numbers had been increasing given recent positive data from the auto sector in July, as well as reports from the likes of Daimler and Apple talking of some decent rebounds in their Chinese markets. Expectations were for a number in the region of 0.1%, which on the face of it still seemed a little on the low side, given the recent decent set of numbers from Tencent, with Alibaba's numbers set to come later today. This makes today's negative reading of 1.1% somewhat of a surprise, and shows that the Chinese consumer still remains quite nervous about coming out of hibernation, with the last time we saw a positive reading being the end of last year, when we saw a gain of 8% for December. NBSP manufacturing has performed better relative to the Chinese consumer, rebounding to its best level in almost a decade in the various official and private sector. PMI's industrial production rose 4.8% in July, also slightly below expectations. As such, today's European Open is expected to see stocks come in broadly unchanged, with the main focus on the latest iteration of EU Q2 GDP, which is expected to come in unchanged at 12.1%, and U.S. retail sales later this afternoon. The last 2 months for U.S. retail sales have seen a significant rebound in U.S. consumer spending, after very weak months in March and April. An 8.7% decline in March was followed by a record 14.7% decline in April. With the significant fiscal support supplied by the U.S. government and a reopening of the U.S. economy in May, we saw a sharp rebound in U.S. consumer spending. A record rebound of 18.2% in May, followed by another 7.5% in June, had raised hopes of a V-shaped recovery. However, events in the past few weeks have cast a shadow over those expectations. The sharp rise in coronavirus cases and rising death toll in the U.S. Sunbelt states, along with the re-implementation of local lockdown measures, has raised fears that we've seen the high point as far as the economic bounce back is concerned, while a sharp fall in U.S. consumer confidence in July could see U.S. consumers adopt a new safety-first approach. Expectations for July retail sales are expected to see another positive number, of 2%, however there is a high chance that this could well be on the optimistic side, given the sharp rise in virus cases and re-imposition of lockdown measures throughout July. The flip side of this coin has been the continued improvement in the US labor market, which could suggest the potential for an upside surprise. EUR/USD squeezed up to the 1.1865 area but has struggled to maintain any sort of traction. We need to push down through the 1.1720 to complete a move towards the 1.1680 area. The January 1920 area remains a key resistance. NBSP GBP USD while below the 1.3200 area, the pound is vulnerable to a break below the 1.3000 area, with support also at 1.2980. A break below 1.2980 opens up the prospect of a move towards the 1.2770 area. We also have minor resistance at 1.3130. NBSP EUR/GBP having managed to hold above the 0.897080 area, the euro needs to break above the 0.9080 level to retarget the 0.9130 level. USD JPY starting to look better bid with the next resistance now up near the 107.20 area. Support comes in at the 106.20 area with major support below that at 105.20. FTSE 100 is expected to open 8 points higher at 6,193. DAX is expected to open unchanged at 12,993. CAC 40 is expected to open unchanged at 5,042. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://m.me/mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. GBP JPY price analysis 13-day-old support line info kusht ntvforex.com news ID F441824 4 minutes ago by Anil Panchal. GBP JPY eases from 5.5-month high, takes a U-turn from ascending trend line established since March 2. Overbought RSI conditions suggest pullback, 61.8% Fibonacci retracement adds to the support. Bulls can aim for the early February low beyond a sustained rise past 140.00. GBP JPY drops to 139.56, down 0.10% on a day, ahead of Friday AS UK market open. The pair surged to the highest since February 25 the previous day but could not close a downward sloping trend line from early March. This pullback gains strength by overbought RSI conditions to attack an upward sloping support line from July 28. While sellers are likely to take entries below the aforementioned trend line support, at 139.20 now, 61.8% Fibonacci retracement of December 2019 to March 2020 downside, near 138.80, could challenge the short-term downside. Though the pair's sustained declines past 138.80 will make it vulnerable to refresh the monthly low of 137.75 and targeting July 23 high around 136.60 and 50% Fibonacci retracement level of 136.00 during the additional south run. Meanwhile, the pair's ability to cross the multi-week-old resistance line, currently around 140.20, will propel the upside moves toward February 4 low near 140.90. GBP JPY daily chart trend pullback expected additional important levels. NBSP overview today last price 139.58 today daily change 0.14 today daily change percent 0.10% today daily open 139.72 NBSP trends daily SMA 20 137.36 daily SMA 50 135.66 daily SMA 100 134. 137.43 daily SMA 200 137.49 NBSP levels previous daily high 140.21 previous daily low 139.24 previous weekly high 139.24 previous weekly low 137.75 previous monthly high 139.21 previous monthly low 132.95 daily Fibonacci 38.2% 139.84 daily Fibonacci 61.8% 139.61 daily pivot point S1 139.24 daily pivot point S2 138.75 daily pivot point S3 138.27 daily pivot point R1 140.21 daily pivot point R2 140.7 daily pivot point R3 141.18 NBSP. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://m.me/mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. Forex today. 3 reasons for the greenback comeback. All eyes on retail sales. ntvforex.com news ID 4E6BA3 1 minutes ago by Yohai Elam. Here is what you need to know on Friday, August 14. The US dollar has been gaining ground once again as the bond yield pendulum swings up again. Washington's fiscal impasse, a weak bond auction, upbeat jobless claims, and Sino-American relations will make way for retail sales figures for July. NBSP won unsuccessful auction after the 10-year bond auction succeeded and pushed bond yields back down. America's 30-year debt issuance on Thursday resulted in higher returns and pushed the whole curve higher. The US dollar was carried higher with it. 2. Fiscal impasse. The second upbeat dollar driver is the ongoing fiscal impasse in Washington. Republicans and Democrats blame each other for the state lame. Apart from disagreeing on federal unemployment claims and aid to states, the parties are at odds over funding to the U.S. Post Office, essential for guaranteeing a quick count of mail-in votes. 3. Encouraging jobless claims data is the third factor boosting the greenback. U.S. initial jobless claims dropped below 1 million in the week ending August 7, the first such fall since the pandemic. Investors will be watching if the encouraging recovery in the labor market continues. The focus now shifts to U.S. retail sales figures for July, which are projected to advance at a moderate rate. America's economy is centered on consumption, making the top-tier figure critical for markets. CNBSP U.S. retail sales July preview. Expectations of moderation may be overstated later in the day. The University of Michigan's preliminary consumer sentiment index for August is set to remain around July's 72.5 figure, low ground. NBSPC U.S. Consumer Sentiment Preview. Looking ahead, gold has been edging higher, changing hands at around $1,950, extending its recovery. NBSP U.S. and Chinese negotiators meet over the weekend to take stock of the Phase 1 trade deal. Beijing wants to put recent U.S. sanctions on TikTok and WeChat on the table. Investors are pricing in a successful round of talks despite clashes over various topics, including Hong Kong, Taiwan, and more. NBSP Chinese retail sales disappointed with a drop of 1.1% yearly in July, while industrial output growth stalled at 4.8%. The world's second-largest economy is growing at a somewhat slower pace. NBSP EUR USD is trading above 1.18 yet off the highs. Coronavirus cases are picking up in Europe, with the UK requiring a quarantine for those returning from France and other countries. An update on second quarter gross domestic product is set to confirm that the Eurozone economy shrank by 12.1%. GBP USD is trading below 1.31 after authorities announced some restrictions will be eased in England. Brexit negotiations are set to resume on August 18. WTI oil is trading around $42, stable. Israel and the United Arab Emirates announced they would establish full diplomatic relations. NBSP cryptocurrencies are stable with Bitcoin trading around $11,700. NBSP more NBSP ETA SA faulty extrapolation to see falling claims as a recovery indicator. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://m.me/mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. Your USD analysis range play intact amid uncertainty over US fiscal stimulus analysis. http ntvforex.com News ID 300009 8/14 2025 39:03 am. Your USD gained some follow-through traction on Thursday amid sustained USD selling. Upbeat US employment data, surging US bond yields provided some respite to the USD. The US fiscal impasse continued undermining the USD and helped limit any further slide. The Euro-USD pair built on the previous day's positive move and gained some follow-through traction on Thursday amid sustained selling around the US dollar. The deadlock in the negotiations for a COVID-19 stimulus package in the US continued weighing on the greenback, which was seen as one of the key factors that pushed the pair to fresh weekly tops. On the economic data front, the final version of German consumer inflation figures matched original estimates and did little to influence the shared currency. In fact, the headline CPI contracted 0.5% MOM in July and fell 0.1% from a year earlier. Meanwhile, data released from the US showed that initial weekly jobless claims dropped below 1 million for the first time since the start of the pandemic, offering signs of the US economic recovery. Adding to this, an intraday spike in the U.S. Treasury bond yields provided some respite to the USD. This, coupled with a cautious mood around the U.S. equity markets, drove some haven flows towards the greenback. This, in turn, kept a lid on any further gains for the major, rather led to a modest intraday pullback of around 50 pips back closer to the 1.1800 round figure mark. However, the suspension of talks for COVID-19 stimulus measures in the U.S. held investors from placing any aggressive USD bullish bets and helped limit any meaningful slide for the major. The Senate will not return this month unless negotiators strike an agreement. In the meantime, Friday's release of the second version of the Eurozone Q2 GDP report might provide some impetus. The U.S. economic docket highlights the release of monthly retail sales and Michigan Consumer Sentiment Index for August. The data will also be looked upon for some meaningful trading opportunities on the last day of the week. Short-term technical outlook. From a technical perspective, the pair has been oscillating in a broader 200 pips trading range over the past 3 weeks or so. The price action constitutes the formation of a rectangle on short-term charts, warranting some caution for aggressive traders. Hence, it will be prudent to wait for a sustained move beyond the January 1900 mark or a convincing break below the 1.1700 level before positioning for the pair's next leg of a directional move. Above the January 1900 mark, the pair is likely to aim towards reclaiming the key January 2000 psychological mark with some intermediate resistance near the January 1975 80 region. Conversely, a break below the 1.1700 mark will be seen as a fresh trigger for bearish traders and set the stage for an extension of the recent corrective slide from near 2-year tops set earlier this month. The pair might then accelerate the fall towards the 1.162520 support area. Subsequent fall below the 1.1600 mark will set the stage for an extension of the corrective slide towards testing the next major support near the 1.155040 region, marking the 50% Fibonacci level of the 1.1168 January 1916 rally. NBSP. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://m.me/mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. GBP USD further downside not ruled out. AULB http ntvforex.com news ID AB8F18 1 minutes ago by Pablo Piovano. Occasional pullbacks in cable should remain within the broad 1.2950-1.3160 range, noted FX strategists at ULB Group. Key quotes 24. Our view: we expected GBP to strengthen yesterday but were of the view that the strong resistance at 1.3115 is likely out of reach. However, GBP popped to a high of 1.3125 before dropping back down. Momentum indicators are turning neutral, and for today, GBP is likely to consolidate, expected to be between 1.3010 and 1.3110 next 3 weeks. There is not much to add to the update from yesterday, August 11th, spot at 1.3075. As highlighted, last week's high of 1.3185 is likely a short-term top. The current movement is viewed as part of consolidation phase. For the next couple of weeks, GBP is likely to drift lower, but any weakness is viewed as part of a 1.2950-1.3160 range. Looking forward, only a clear break below 1.2950 would indicate that GBP is ready for a deeper pullback. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. US-China woes, coronavirus crisis to hit Japanese economy sharply. A Reuters poll. ntvforex.com news ID C9B0446 minutes ago by Dwani Maeda. The latest Reuters poll of 32 economists showed on Friday the Japanese economy is likely to contract sharply and suffer mild deflation this fiscal year, in the light of the devastating impact of the coronavirus pandemic and US-China tensions. Key findings: the economy is forecast to shrink 5.6% in the current fiscal year to next March, more than a 5.3% contraction projected last month. In a worst-case scenario, it will shrink 8.0%. The downgrade came as many analysts revised their forecasts for April-June gross domestic product (GDP) to a 27% contraction last month, the worst-case forecast from a nearly 24% drop projected in July. Japan's economy will grow just 3.3% in the following year beginning in April 2021, the August 4, 13 poll showed, unchanged from the previous poll in July. Core consumer prices, which exclude volatile fresh food but includes energy costs, will fall 0.3% this fiscal year and rebound just 0.2% next year. Over 80% of respondents also said Japanese companies would face adverse effects if Washington and Beijing moved toward creating their own economic zones, which would mark a retreat of globalization. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. No progress on a new fiscal relief package in the U.S. analysis. http ntvforex.com news ID CD5B14814 2025 44:13 a.m. Market movers today and over the weekend. The Eurozone preliminary GDP numbers for Q2 are due for release, where the market consensus forecasts a drop of 12% compared with the first quarter and 15% compared with the same quarter last year. The outcome is quite uncertain, and the release will probably be a significant market mover if there is a significant deviation from consensus in either direction, as the economic headwinds in Q2 are already old news. U.S. retail sales will likely show a small setback in July, as the flare-up of virus cases and the upcoming expiry of unemployment benefits at the end of the month led consumers to adopt more cautious spending patterns. Consumer sentiment for August is also due for release and will show how much the lapse of special unemployment benefits has dented the mood, especially as COVID-19 cases remain high and yesterday's weekly jobless claims showed that layoffs remain elevated. In the U.S., financial markets will also look for signs of a breakthrough in the negotiations between the Trump administration and the Democrats in Congress. In Denmark, we are looking forward to the Q2 GDP figures, which we expect fell by 4% QQ, as the economy came through Q2 in considerably better shape than much of the rest of Europe. See next page. Tomorrow, senior US and Chinese officials will, via a video conference, review the implementation of their Phase 1 trade deal and discuss other issues or areas of conflict between the two countries. While the US administration has been sending positive signals about the trade deal this week, we can't preclude negative headlines from the meeting given the tense relationship between the two countries amid approaching US elections. NBSP selected market news. Asian stocks were mixed overnight after the US session closed in negative territory. Part of the mixed sentiment came from somewhat disappointing Chinese data released overnight. Chinese industrial production and retail sales data for July suggested that China's recovery continued, although not as fast as hoped by the market, as both indicators missed consensus forecasts slightly. While industrial production grew at a healthy speed of 4.8% compared with July last year, the recovery in retail sales was rather muted as sales were about 1% lower than last year. However, anecdotal evidence from Beijing suggests that activity has picked up speed substantially in August, which may suggest that retail sales will pick up speed in August, especially as China continues to have the coronavirus relatively well under control. Another source of market concern is the lack of progress in reaching a deal on another fiscal stimulus package for the U.S. economy. Yesterday, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi rebuffed a notion from Treasury Secretary Mnuchin to resume negotiations, as the Trump administration appeared unwilling to raise the amount of the relief package, while aid for state and local government as well as the U.S. Postal Service are sticking points. Meanwhile, U.S. initial jobless claims fell more than expected compared to last month, as less than 1 million Americans filed for initial unemployment benefits. Despite the lower number turning up as unemployed, more than 15 million Americans are still claiming unemployment benefits, underscoring the importance of further unemployment assistance programs. Download the full daily FX market commentary. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://m.mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. Asian indices trade mixed amid weaker China data analysis. http ntvforex.com News ID 9345DA 8/14/2025 52:44 AM Asia Market Update. Asian indices trade mixed amid weaker China data. US-China officials expected to talk trade on August 15, Saturday. NBSP General Trend Shanghai Composite declined less than 0.2% during morning session. Consumer Discretionary Index drops amid weaker retail sales. Financials trade mixed in HK Sportswear. Co-leaning rises over 10% in HK post earnings. Gainers in Australia include consumer discretionary and resources firms. Decliners in Japan include real estate firms and banks. Insurers rise. Kospi underperforms amid the rise in coronavirus cases. U.S. jewel retail sales due later today. NBSP headlines. Economic data. Australia-New Zealand ASX 200 opens 0.1%. Reserve Bank of Australia RBA Gov Low has not ruled out negative interest rates. Says they are extraordinarily unlikely. Victoria outbreak to reduce Q3 GDP by at least 2 ppts. Growth not expected until due to coronavirus outbreak. Have not ruled out separate bond buying program or other adjustments to mid-March package. Hopes cash rate will not be this low for 5 years. But it is possible. Not sure how much traction out of extending YCC out of the curve. Risks around Australia. Dollar balanced semi-annual testimony. RBA assist Gov Ellis downside scenario based on 10-week lockdown in Victoria. Australia sells a $2.0 BV. A $2.0 B indicated in 2.75% November 2028 bonds. Average yield 0.8098% v 0.7959% prior. Bid to cover 4.4x v 3.6x prior. NZ Reserve Bank of New Zealand RBNZ buys NZ $185m v NZ $211m prior in government bonds as part of QEV. NZ $190m sought second day in a row not buying full amount sought. NZ New Zealand confirms 12 additional coronavirus cases. 2 Outside of Auckland confirms earlier report NZ New Zealand July manufacturing PMI 58.8 v 56.2 prior NZ New Zealand Treasury July activity gauge YY 2.0% China Hong Kong Hang Seng Open 0.6%, Shanghai Composite 0.2% CN China NBS comments after Jewel data China will strive to reach economic and social developments this year. China economy recovered steadily in July. CN China July industrial production YY 4.8% v 5.2% EYDD YY 0.4% v 0.4% ECN China July retail sales YY 1.1% v 0.1% EYDD YY 9.9% v 9.8% ECN China July fixed assets investment ex rural YDD YY 1.6% v 1.6% US Pres Trump my attitude towards China is not friendly after virus China is giving US farmers the largest orders ever seen 1TB engaging on the next trade call with China about TikTok or WeChat US has set a deadline US White House advisor Kudlow continue to engage China in the Phase 1 trade deal US and China trade principals have a call coming up White House continues to review WeChat CNPBOC to conduct MLF on August 17 Monday, 400 billion Chinese yuan in MLF funds are set to expire August 17, additional 150 billion Chinese yuan to expire August 26 CN China first week of Aug retail car sales at 29.8k, 3% YYPCA CN China PBOC sets yuan reference rate 6.9405 v 6.9429 prior strongest yuan fix since March 10 CN China Commerce Ministry MOFCOM official China will use digital currency on a trial basis pilot program will cover areas near Beijing, Yangtze River Delta and the Greater Bay Area aims to promote services trade CN China Bok Open. Market operation OMO injects 150 billion Chinese yuan in 7-day reverse repos V injects 150 billion Chinese yuan in 7-day reverse repos prior net injection 140 billion Chinese yuan V net injection 150 billion Chinese yuan prior CN China Bok open market operation OMO net injection total 490 billion Chinese yuan V net drain total 270 billion Chinese yuan for the week prior Japan Nikkei 225 open 0.3% JP Japan LDP tax chief Amari reiterates opposes cutting sales tax. Japan must consider a tax scheme which encourages firms to boost their cybersecurity. Nikkei JP Japan June Tertiary Industry Index M 7.9% v 6.4% E Korea Kospi open 0.4% KR South Korea confirms 103 additional coronavirus cases. Total cases 14,873 most new virus cases since end of March KR reported that North Korea replaced its premier KCNA KR North Korea leader Kim virus protection has been managed stably, asks officials to not allow external flood support KR South Korea Jewel Export Price Index 0.4% v 0.3% prior YY 5.8% v 6.0% prior KR South Korea sells 50-year bonds average yield 1.610% v 1.570% prior other Asia Malaysia Q2 GDP QQ 16.5% v 11.4% EYY 17.1% v 10.9% E confirms technical recession, largest decline on record. North America U.S. Treasury $26 billion 30-year bond auction draws 1.406% bid to cover 2.14 v 2.30 prior and 2.30 over last four auctions from August 13 NBSP levels as of 1:20 ET Nikkei 225, flat, ASX 200 0.5%, Hang Seng flat Shanghai Composite 0.3% Kospi 1.3% Equity S&amp P500 Futures 0.2% Nasdaq 100 0.3%, DAX 0.1% FTSE 100 flat 1.1820 euros 1.1801 Japanese yen 107.04 106 Australian dollars and 84 cents 0.7155 0.7131 NZD 0.6555 0.6526 Gold 0.4% at $1,962 ounce. Crude oil 0.3% at $42.37 BRL. Copper 0.9% at $2.8213 pound. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. Intraday news and views and data to be released today. AUR USD analysis. http ntvforex.com. News ID C7F9068 14/20/25 48:26 AM. Intraday market moving news and views update. Time August 14, 2020 0530 GMT. EUR 1.1811 US dollars. The single currency swung wildly in hectic trading yesterday. The pair traded with a firm bias in Europe and gained to session highs at 1.1864 in New York morning on USD's broad-based weakness. However, price pared its gains and retreated sharply to 1.1794 in New York afternoon. Euro then staged a rebound to 1.1820 at Asian Open today before retreating again to 1.1802. Euro's sharp retreat from 1.1864 to 1.1794 yesterday suggests the recovery from Wednesday's low at 1.1712 has ended there, and consolidation with downside bias remains for weakness to 1.175055. Offers are now seen at 1.183040 with stops building up above there, whilst initial bids are noted at 1.172030. EU will release its final figures, its Q2 GDP at 0900 GMT. Street forecasts for QQ and YY are 12.1% and 15.0%, unchanged from their preliminary readings respectively. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. NZD USD faces a probable move to 0.6520 AULB. http ntvforex.com. News ID 7F70873 3 minutes ago by Pablo Piavano. NZD USD remains under pressure and could slip back to the 0.6520 region in the near term, in opinion of FX strategists at ULB Group. Key quotes 24. Our view. Yesterday, we held the view that a strong rebound in NZD could extend towards 0.6610 A. Our expectation did not materialize as NZD only touched a high of 0.6599 before easing off. Downward momentum has ticked up, and for today, NZD could edge lower towards the strong support at 0.6520. A dip below this level is not ruled, but the next support at 0.6500 is unlikely to come under threat. Resistance is at 0.6565 followed by 0.6585 A. Next 3 weeks A. In our update from Tuesday, August 11, spot at 0.6585, we held the view that NZD is expected to trade with a downward bias towards 0.6520 A. NZD dipped to a low of 0.6524 yesterday, August 12, before rebounding. The underlying tone still appears to be soft, and from here, a retest of the 0.6520 level is not ruled. Only a move above 0.6660 would indicate the current mild downward pressure has eased. NBSP. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. India's 10-year yield inching towards 6% as surge in CPI dims chances of rate cut. Analysis. http ntvforex.com. News ID BC969A8 14/20/26 017 AM. US initial weekly jobless claims fell below 1 MN for the first time since March 21, coming in at 963K. Continuing claims also came in lower at 15.5 MN against expectations of 15.9 MN. Recovery in labor markets could reduce the impetus behind getting the second stimulus through and could make a case for making it smaller in size and more targeted instead. US yields rose post the data. US 10Y yield climbed back above 0.70 for the first time since June. The US dollar strengthened against majors. NBSP India July CPI came in higher than expected at 6.93% against expectations of 6.25%. We may see some further paying in OIS and selling in bonds as markets would price out expectations of more accommodation from RBI. However, the higher print was primarily on account of higher food prices, and with normal monsoons and a good Kharif harvest we may see inflation cool off in H2 FY21. The RBI may announce an OMO or a special OMO operation twist to address nervousness in the bond market. The rupee continues to trade a very tight range. Nationalized banks continue to absorb inflows. We are likely to see an open around 74.85 in a range of 74.70–75.00 intraday. Nifty is likely to trade with a positive bias. We may see the next resistance around 11,550 levels. NBSP US July retail sales data is due today. EXP 1.9% MOM. NBSP strategy exporters are advised to cover through risk reversal strategy. Importers are advised to hold with a stop loss of 75.35. The 3M range for USD is 73.60–75.90 and the 6M range is 73.00–77.00. Download the full daily currency insight. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://m.me/mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. Not enough demand for US 30Y bond AUSD, US yields higher, markets mixed analysis. http ntvforex.com news ID B9F1538142026 0554 AM US equities edged lower, except for technology stocks as standstill fiscal talks in the US limited the appetite for more equity purchases as the major US indices fluctuated near their all-time highs. The Treasury yields rose after the record 30-year US bond auction saw weak demand on Thursday, hinting that the heavily swamped debt market could not absorb the additional debt easily. NBSP Meanwhile, US President Donald Trump refused to fund the US Postal Services to increase his chances of delaying the November presidential election, amid surveys started showing up to double-digit advance for his rival Biden. And the markets don't even react badly to an eventual Biden victory on reassurance that under the actual circumstances, Democrats can't take any steps to harm the financial markets, anyway. Right now, Biden victory is seen as neutral for the stock markets. Some believe that there could even be some positive in switching the government after 2 years of tense relationship with China, and trade frictions with other countries as well. NBSP stay on top of the markets with Swissquota's news-amp analysis. NBSP stocks in Asia traded mixed after China posted the biggest jump in industrial production in 6 months in July, but the 4.8% YoY rise missed the consensus of analyst expectations of 5.1%. Chinese retail sales unexpectedly dropped 1.1%, however, leaving the market skeptical about the pace of the recovery. NBSP trading on FTSE 0.09% and DAX futures 0.22% hint at a lackluster open in Europe. NBSP The US dollar reversed the early week gains, but improved US yields helped limiting the dollar's weakness on Thursday. The US weekly jobless claims fell below 1 million for the first time since the beginning of pandemic, still very high but pointing at a gradual recovery in the US jobs market. NBSP The euro remained offered past the 1.1850 and the pound rebounded from 1.3120 against the US dollar. A better dollar appetite should encourage a further downside correction in both euro and sterling against the greenback, as the overstretched short USD positions are mainly responsible for the actual trading levels, and a downside correction would be healthy to match the fundamentals in both pairs. NBSP due today, the second quarter GDP read should confirm a 12% decline in the Eurozone economy, as inflation remains low due to depressed activity. Germany and Spain printed inflation below zero in July, while consumer prices in France may have improved due to a boost in summer demand. Still, the overall picture calls for a decent government and central bank support and keeps the European Central Bank ECB doves in charge of the market. NBSP virus update. Germany reported the highest jump in COVID cases in 3 months, while cases in France, Greece, and Spain continued surging as a result of relaxed confinement measures, and perhaps the crowded summer destinations where light measures as the obligation to wear masks and social distancing are hard to implement in outdoor places and merely respected. NBSP for investors. The rising infections will likely become an issue if governments re-implement stricter quarantine measures that could hit the economic activity, otherwise the cheap liquidity should continue feeding into stock prices. NBSP gold consolidates gains near $1,950 per ounce. Higher U.S. yields and firmer U.S. dollar could limit the appetite in the short run. However, the rising inflationary pressures in the U.S. and the uncertain market sentiment should keep the medium-term gold demand intact and provide support to the gold market. The positive trend building since March should remain in place above $1,845 per ounce, the major 38.2% retracement on March-August rally. NBSP demand in WTI crude remained solid after the IEA cut its forecast for global oil demand, insisting on the worsening outlook for jet fuel consumption. The rising COVID cases globally will likely keep passengers grounded for an extended period and continue weighing on demand. On the supply side, we should soon start seeing critics emerge against the OPEC's decision to trim the production cuts prematurely. For now, the price of a barrel is steady near the 200-day moving average $42.90, but there is a reduced potential for a sustainable advance above this level. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://m.me/mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. USD JPY faces solid hurdle at 107.50 AULB. http ntvforex.com News ID 3BDA915 5 minutes ago by Pablo Piavano. The upside momentum seems unchanged in USD JPY and could still target the key resistance in the mid 107.00s, suggested FX strategists at ULB Group. Key quotes 24. Our view we highlighted yesterday that the pullback from the high has room to edge lower, but any weakness is viewed as part of 106.45-107.00 range. However, USD only touched 106.55 before edging to a high of 107.04. Upward momentum has improved a tad, and for today, USD could move above the strong resistance at 107.15. The next resistance at 107.50 is unlikely to come into the picture. On the downside, support is at 106.75 followed by 106.50 next 3 weeks on Wednesday, August 12, spot at 106.50. We noted the rapid improvement in momentum and expected USD to strengthen towards 107.15. USD rose to a high of 107.04 yesterday, August 13, and from here, a move above 107.15 would not be surprising. The next resistance at 107.50 is a more formidable level and may not be easy to break. Overall, the current positive phase in USD is deemed as intact as long USD does not move below 106.20. A strong support level was previously at 105.85. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://m.me/mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. Core Bonds Trade Listless Analysis http ntvforex.com News ID A69536814-2026-2027 AM Markets investors lift their feet from the throttle yesterday in a session where both equities and core bonds faced moderate selling pressure. U.S. jobless claims fell more than expected and below 1,963,000, yet was largely ignored. It adds to our case that markets currently are more vulnerable to negative surprises news. In this respect, Senate Leader McConnell's announcement that the Senate will go in recess until September 7, making a stimulus deal basically impossible before then and raising risks for the economy. The news added to the risk-off with U.S. equities extending minor losses to end up to 0.3% lower. EMU stock declines ranged from 0.5% to 0.9%. Core bonds also fell with USDs underperforming the bund after a disappointing record-sized 30-year auction $26 BN. Bonds were awarded at 1.406% versus 1.382% WI with the lowest bid to cover 2.14 and the highest primary dealer award since July 2019. U.S. Treasuries accelerated their decline in the wake of the auction results, the long end in particular. U.S. yields rose 0.2 bps 2-year over 1.8 bps 5-year to 5.4 bps 30-year with the 5Y 30Y spread ticking the highest in a month. The German yield curve also steepened as yields rose up to 3.5 bps 10-year. Peripheral spreads widened, Portugal 4 bps underperformed. The dollar remained in the defensive for most of the European session despite the fragile sentiment but staged a comeback as U.S. investors started joining. EUR/USD reached an intraday high near 1.186 but closed at 1.1816 eventually, up from 1.178. The sudden rise in U.S. yields probably helped the greenback to recover. USD JPY closed shy of 107 after an attempt to capture the barrier failed. Sterling went nowhere. After Wednesday's hit, the British currency oscillated near opening levels of 0.904. Asian markets trade fragile this morning. Chinese equity gains faded after a disappointing batch of industrial production figures 4.8% YY versus 5.2% expected and especially poor retail sales 1.1% YY versus 0.1% expected. The series remind markets of a bumpy recovery. South Korea 2% is the notable underperformer as the country saw its daily coronavirus cases almost double. Core bonds trade listless. RBA Governor Lowe said it is possible the policy rate could go lower, even negative A though unlikely A, and would like to have the Aussie dollar to be lower to boost job growth. He doesn't think the currency is overvalued at this stage however. AUD/USD overcame initial weakness by Lowe's comments rather quickly. Other dollar pairs, including EUR/USD and USD JPY, are trading little changed 1.1814 and 106.87 respectively. Today's U.S. retail sales and industrial production figures, both July readings, will draw attention. Retail sales are expected at 2.1% after a 7.5% rise in June. We don't exclude a negative surprise as the technical recovery continues to stall and U.S. consumers might have started to rein in spending in anticipation of additional jobless benefits and other measures ending. Especially in combination with a possibly disappointing view of Michigan consumer confidence as stimulus talks remain totally deadlocked, we could see some more profit-taking going into the weekend. Core bonds should thus remain well bid. Poor U.S. echo data probably aren't exactly helpful to the greenback. However, the August price action at least suggests some EUR/USD fatigue, so we don't expect losses for the USD, if any, to go very far, more so given the shaky risk environment. Sterling, meanwhile, eyes next week's new round of formal Brexit talks. With both parties still at odds over themes including a level playing field and fisheries, we don't see a reason for sterling to rally in anticipation of a quick deal. NBSP News headlines: The United Kingdom has placed Malta, the Netherlands, and France to its list of countries from which people arriving have to quarantine for 14 days as concerns rise over new cases in each of those countries. Yesterday morning, government sources indicated new restrictions would not be imposed. However, the latest data convinced ministers to act now. Download the full Sunrise Market commentary. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://m.me/mt5.expert.advisors.